Coming up tonight on the news at 6.
It's hour by hour, not even day by day or shift by shift. It is literally hour by hour.
Helena healthcare professionals open up about the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on frontline workers. Plus, the pandemic has cost Montanans their jobs and health insurance. How groups are teaming up to help people stay covered.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 6.
Good evening. Welcome to the news at 6. I'm Marian Davidson. Thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight, hospitals across Montana are struggling with a surge of patients due to COVID-19, and St. Peter's Health in Helena is no exception. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian talked to hospital leaders about how they're handling the situation and what it means for those working on the front lines.
St. Peter's health leaders say in recent weeks they've moved into a surge plan that they had prepared for but hoped they'd never have to use. At times, they haven't had any available beds for incoming patients.
It's hour by hour, not even day by day or shift by shift. It is literally hour by hour.
As of Friday, St. Peter's was caring for 11 COVID-19 patients. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shelley Harkins says even non-COVID patient numbers are higher due to the pandemic, as nursing homes are not accepting new admissions. In addition, they have generally had about 30 to 50 employees who aren't able to come to work because they or their families are in quarantine.
Effectively, all of our service lines are very thin and very stretched.
Amy Brown is a registered nurse who works on the hospital's medical floor. She says it's been a stressful time, especially as they try to make sure they have enough staff to help critically ill patients.
There's kind of a guilt with it too, because you know that if you don't pick up or come in extra, that the people that you work close with are struggling with staff shortages and those sorts of things. So
she urged everyone in the Helena area to take COVID-19 seriously and do what they can to relieve the burden on the healthcare system.
We all need to work together as a community to slow the spread as much as possible so that not just for you, but for your friends, family, neighbors, people that you care about are able to get the care that they need, even if it's not related to COVID.
This week, St. Peter's began canceling some planned elective surgeries because they don't have beds available for the patients afterwards. Harkins said if the situation doesn't improve, they will essentially be rationing care.
Regardless of whether you have COVID or know anyone with COVID or care about COVID, this will still affect your care and the care of your loved ones if we don't get a handle on this and start to see some improvement.
In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
St. Peter's officials say they are making changes to the behavioral health unit, which will give them an additional 24 beds if they have another surge in patients. And the state reported more than 1,214 additional COVID-19 cases today, bringing the statewide total to more than 45,000 cases since the start of the pandemic. Nearly 16,000 of those are active cases. 499 people are hospitalized with the virus. 5 more deaths have been reported since last night, meaning 510 Montanans have died from COVID-19 complications. Now, as a reminder, MTN numbers do vary from the state because we also track data from local health departments. And another note, these numbers are high because some counties, like Lewis and Clark, are reporting 2 days' worth of new COVID-19 cases. All right, now it's time for First Weather with Andy Curtis filling in over in the Weather Center.
We have a windy weekend that is ahead of us. A lot like today, we'll be seeing that wind sticking around Saturday and Sunday. In fact, we're under a high wind watch for most of our viewing area. The rest of tonight and into tomorrow, I think around 6 p.m. is when it should expire. But of course, the wind doesn't know that, so expect the wind to carry over into Sunday. Now to the west, they're seeing a little bit more different weather than we're seeing out here. A lot of snow, winter weather advisory out there. Kalispell, Missoula, getting a lot of snow right now, and tomorrow that's been stopping at the Continental Divide though, so lucky for us, staying over there. So windy the next couple of days, but a warm up is on the way. I'll tell you about that coming up in the full forecast.
All right, thanks for that, Andy. Well, tonight, a community mourns the death of a 14-year-old boy. Antonio Carlos Theory Jr. was an 8th grader at East Middle School in Great Falls, and police are calling it a suspicious death. MTN's Zach Shermley reports.
We are actually here on scene last night. We saw some fire trucks as well as a police department vehicle behind me, and it looked like there were some emergency responders that were sort of crouched over a body or something like that. We, of course, looked into it overnight, and the Great Falls Police Department released a press statement today saying that they responded to reports of a shooting yesterday at around 5 p.m. and upon arrival found the deceased body of a 14-year-old boy. We've confirmed that was an 8th grader at East Middle School. Now later today, Cascade County Sheriff Jesse Slaughter released more information.
This one's a tough one.
Police are ruling the death suspicious, and this morning Thury's body was transported to Missoula for an autopsy. The incident happened near Beaverhead Court last night. At about 5 p.m., first responders were dispatched to the scene where they found the deceased body of 14-year-old Thury. GFPD is leading the investigation into what happened, and charges are being worked out by the Cascade County Sheriff's Office and the Cascade County Attorney's Office.
Where we go from here is our detectives and our officers, the patrol side, they will complete everything on their behalf as far as the investigation goes, and that can take days to weeks.
The incident comes after East Middle School closed a day earlier than the rest of the school district due to a high percentage of students and staff quarantined from the coronavirus. Despite the school closure, a crisis team has been set up. That team will offer in-person and virtual grief counseling throughout the upcoming weeks.
Firearms are one of those things that Montana has a lot of, and we just always ask that people remember firearm safety. We ask that people teach their children firearm safety.
And a Great Falls Public Schools teacher I was texting with earlier today said of the situation, it is, quote, horrible, just horrible. In Great Falls, I'm Zach Shermley, MTN News.
Well, national relief organization Samaritan's Purse kicks off Operation Christmas Child this coming Monday. It's a nationwide campaign aimed at collecting shoeboxes filled with things like school supplies and hygiene products for kids in need. According to the regional coordinator, they hope Montanans will provide more than 10,000 shoeboxes, with 1,300 of them coming from the Helena area. Collection week will include curbside drop-off in line with COVID-19 guidelines. There's also a virtual option. You can buy a shoebox and fill it all online.
Well, the Build-A-Box online has been available for several years now, but we understand more people are hesitant and reserved about being out and about, and so this is convenient and it's interactive and people can have fun.
Area drop-off locations include Our Redeemer's Lutheran Church in Helena, First Baptist Church in Cascade, and Harvest Springs Community Church in Great Falls. For more information about Operation Christmas Child, head on over to our website, ktvh.com. And still ahead on the news at 6, open enrollment is underway. We'll introduce you to one group who is making a big push to get more Montanans insured through the Affordable Care Act.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the news at 6. As the COVID-19 pandemic has rampaged through Montana, people have lost their jobs and, at the same time, their health insurance. But open enrollment is underway for 2021 coverage financed by the Affordable Care Act. And as MTN's Mike Dennison reports, a healthcare group is teaming up with the state and private insurers to make a big push to help people evaluate and acquire that coverage.
Even before the pandemic hit, the ranks of the uninsured in Montana was ticking up, and now may be around 11% of the population.
What we know is that a lot of people lost income, a lot of people saw a shift in their hours at their job. And so we have those who were uninsured to begin with, and then we have a new population of folks because of the impact on their family because of what's going on with COVID-19.
That's why the coalition Cover Montana has launched a huge outreach plan, funded in part by federal COVID relief funds, to encourage people to apply for coverage under the Affordable Care Act. Enrollment began November 1st for 2021 policies and ends December 15th. The group will be sending direct mail to more than 160,000 Montanans who filed for unemployment this year. And it has launched an extensive TV and social media ad campaign showcasing trained enrollment assisters that can help people navigate the policies.
I can help. I can help. I can help you make sense of your health insurance coverage options.
The individual policies are sold by 3 private insurers, Blue Cross, Pacific Source, or the Mountain Health Co-op. But if Montanans apply for these policies through the ACA, they usually get subsidies to offset the cost. Or they could find out they're eligible for Medicaid, which is mostly free of charge. Insurers selling ACA policies also say consumers should be wary of short-term insurance plans being pitched mostly by out-of-state online companies and not subsidized by the ACA.
They'll say, look, your premium is $1,000 on healthcare.gov, but we can give you the 6-month policy that's only $300 a month. Well, the reality is if you go through the process, most of our policyholders are paying about $60 to $80 a month after the subsidies.
Ryuta says enrollment assisters can walk people through the application process, which is one-stop shopping for all the options.
These are Montanans, right, who've been doing this work for a long time. They're based in communities across the state, and their help is free, it's confidential, and they're trained and certified.
And Milton Berger says consumers also can go through independent insurance agents and still get the subsidies for ACA policies. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
You can check out Cover Montana online at covermt.org or call them at their toll-free number, which is 844-682-6837. All right, now let's check in with Andy about what's coming up in weather.
What's coming up is a whole lot of wind, kind of like today. That's going to carry into the weekend. Yeah, that's a lot of windy conditions across Montana tomorrow and even into Sunday, but there's a warm-up on the way. I'll tell you about that when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Andy Curtis filling in for Curtis Grevenitz tonight, and we have got more wind in the forecast. So if you ran into a little bit of wind today, get ready to do the same thing tomorrow and even on Sunday. As we look at tomorrow morning, a lot of purple on the map across the state means wind speeds pushing 60 miles per hour. Red gets down to the 50, yellow, orange drops down, so on and so forth. But tomorrow morning, it is windy pretty much as far as the eye can see. Starts to get a little less and mellow out as we get into Saturday afternoon, but still, Helena, Great Falls, Cut Bank, Havre, lots of wind, 30, 40 miles per hour, pretty consistently throughout the day. Things start to slow down a little bit as we cross over into Sunday, and Sunday morning, not too bad. That wind will come back, though, as we get into Sunday afternoon, Sunday early evening. So just from start to finish, a pretty windy weekend. Make your plans accordingly to all that wind out there. So any kind of driving conditions will be affected if you're going up over any of the passes especially. Up in Great Falls, 39 degrees currently, so not too bad temperature-wise. But it doesn't feel like that because of that wind we were just showing you. 39 mile per hour gusts have been recorded up around the Electric City. Consistent wind of 29 miles per hour. That means it feels like 27 degrees. So knock 10 degrees off whatever is showing on the thermometer with wind speeds like that. Taking a trip down to Helena, and at least in the 6 it was calmer. It's jumped up a little bit, giving us a preview again of what we can expect tomorrow. So temperature a little bit warmer as well, 42 degrees. But right down, like it was up in Great Falls, knocking that feel like temperature down to 35 because wind speeds, 25 mile per hour gusts, 14 mile per hour consistent winds. And right now temperatures across the state, 30s and 40s, but that wind speed, yes, you guessed it, if you're playing the at-home version of our game, 29 miles per hour in Havre, 35 in Cut Bank. So windy in all the usual spots. 44 in Livingston, surprise, surprise. A little less windy, though, out to the west on the other side of the divide. That's a good thing because they're also dealing with a whole heck of a lot of snow out there, at least more snow than we're seeing around here. All day they've been seeing it, and that'll be carrying over into the weekend. Lucky for us on this side of that range, that snow's staying all the way out to the west. So if you're driving to Missoula or anything tomorrow, give yourself plenty of time because not only will you be dealing with that wind over the passes, but could be dealing with a good accumulation of snow. So something to keep in mind. As we head into the weekend and a little bit further, you can see things are going to stay relatively similar to today. The wind is going to be up. Any of the nasty snow and any other kind of weather coming from the west will stay to the west of us. But we should all be seeing that weather improve as we head into the work week, which is a nice little change. How often do you get to look forward to the work week when we're going into the weekend? Hopefully this is the only time. 7-day look at the Great Falls area. 30s and 40s, a slight chance of mixed rain and snow on Monday, but temperature's not looking too bad. Wind speed's dying down too as well. 43 for the high as we get back to work. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, temperatures getting pretty good. We should see a little bit more sun than today and tomorrow. Temperatures pushing 50, should be calmer, should be drier. Not looking too bad right now. In the Helena area, 35 for the expected high tomorrow and 37 for the expected high wind speed. And then we're in the 40s for the next couple of days. And just like up in Great Falls, we're going to be pushing into the 50 range Tuesday and let's say Wednesday as well. Let's bump that up a little bit.
All right, and coming up, we have a preview of volleyball matchups around the state.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the News at 6. Local sports teams are on the road for football and volleyball matchups, and Tom Wiley is also on the road to tell us what we can look forward to.
Hey everybody, Tom Wiley on the road to Medicine Lake, Montana. About a 6.5-hour trip from Great Falls. That's the site of the six-man state championship. Freud Medicine Lake hosting White Sulphur Springs Saturday at 1 o'clock. Just one of many sites where many Montana teams are vying for a state crown. We'll start in Sydney at State A Volleyball. Haver, our lone Central Montana representative, they've been eliminated, dropping 2 straight. So it's Hardin and Billings Central in tonight's undefeated semifinal. Up in Shelby at the Class B tournament, Fairfield is out. Northern Division champion Shoto fighting to stay alive in a loser-out match against Anaconda. Meanwhile, Huntley Project and Joliet in that undefeated semifinal. And in Malta, the Sims Tigers were the number 2 seed in the North. They have been eliminated. Fort Benton still alive, facing Charlotte to claw back into contention for a second straight year. It's going to be Manhattan Christian and Bridger facing off in the winners bracket at State C. In football, Class B, Glasgow on the road at Manhattan Saturday. Fairfield hosting Florence, and the 8-man semis at Shelby at Scobie, and Flint Creek coming to face the top-ranked Fort Benton Longhorns. All kinds of meaningful sporting events happening across the state this weekend. AA semifinals, Class A championship. For updates on all that and more, just visit montanasports.com. Tom Wiley, MTN Sports.
And another title game to mention, CMR and Helena Capital will meet for a AA volleyball championship matchup tomorrow at 2 p.m. here in Helena. And this year will look a little different for Frontier Conference basketball. Each team will play others 4 times this year, and they'll play each other on back-to-back nights. Tonight, the Carroll College men's basketball team will get a chance to test their mettle in back-to-back games for the first time since the end of the regular season, when they hosted Providence and Montana State Northern on February 27th and 28th. Tonight, they'll play Presentation College, and on Saturday, the 7th-ranked Morningside College. And Fighting Saints head coach Kurt Paulson said earlier this week, if this is what they are going to be doing on a regular basis, they'll need to keep everyone on their roster healthy.
This is kind of a throwback to what the Frontier used to do, I think, in the 90s. And so this will be new for most everybody. No one's really used to this format. Playing back-to-back nights will be an adjustment for everybody. You need some depth, and you're also going to have a deep playbook too, because the stuff you run, the first game may not necessarily work the second, third, and fourth game.
Carroll and Presentation College tip off tonight at 6:30 in Aberdeen, South Dakota. We'll have the final score back here tonight at 10. And we'll wrap things up here on the News at 6 when we come back.
News leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the News at 6. Mountain Dew fans will soon have more to choose from, but will need to make it themselves. Mountain Dew is dipping its toe into the culinary industry with its first ever cookbook. The announcement coincides with the drink's 80th birthday. The cookbook will feature about 40 recipes that range from Mountain Dew salsas and barbecue sauces to Mountain Dew brisket and turkey. Fans can also make green mozzarella bites, I'm not so sure how good those sound, and Mountain Dew infused pickles. The book goes on sale next week on the Dew online store.
The Mountain Dew turkey sounds a bit strange to me, but what do I know? I'll give it a try if somebody makes it. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast for the capital city as we head into the weekend. A whole lot of wind can be expected tomorrow and even into Sunday. Things should start to lighten up as we start the work week, though. And temperatures will rise as we head in the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, pushing the 50-degree mark around the capital city. Then up in the Electric City, just as windy and just as warm as we start the work week Tuesday. Could be around 52 degrees.
All right, and that does it for the news at 6. We'll be back here at 10 with your sports highlights, of course, an update on your weather, and all of your latest local headlines. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you back here at 10.